So let's check out this distro called Pentoo. What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video, and today I want to look at a distribution called Pentoo. And this is considered another pen testing distribution similar to Kali Linux. I think I did one on Backbox. Well, this one is called Pentoo, and it's spelled Pentoo. And so if you look at the name, it kind of reminds you of another distribution, and that's what this distribution is based on, and that's Gentoo. And I've always stayed away from Gentoo. I never really liked the distro, and maybe because it's a little bit more difficult to use and to manage and keep up to date and install packages. It's just insanely difficult to keep up with this distribution, you know, as far as keeping the system going or whatever. You got to build packages from source all the time. Now I've played around with it and I've tested other distributions that were based on Gentoo, but I always kind of stayed away from it, man, as far as doing videos on it, because I don't know the lingo. It's basically like a whole nother culture. Like people that use Gentoo, it's like a whole nother like culture of operating systems. It's kind of like a BSD. You know, a lot of people that use BSD, they only use BSD, and they use, you know, all the different distributions based on BSD or whatever that's out there. Well, same thing with Gentoo. People stick to Gentoo, you know, and it's a Linux distribution. You know, it's been around for a long time. It's just, I don't recommend it to new users, but if you have a background using Linux at least for, you know, a couple years or so, I would recommend check out Pentoo, especially if you're getting into cybersecurity, because it's a good distro for people that are performing pen tests. I mean, it pretty much comes with all the same tools that you would get on Kali or Parrot OS. But that's enough talk. Let's go on and hop over to the website so I can show you guys where to get it and what it's all about. Before we move forward, I wanted to give a quick shout out to CIQ, the official partner of Rocky Linux. Rocky Linux is a Linux distribution that is intended to be a downstream complete binary compatible release using the Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system source code. The project is led by Gregory Kurtzer, who was the founder of the CentOS project. So check out Rocky Linux at ciq.co. Alright, so I'm at pentoo.org. This is the official website to get Pentoo from. As you can see, it's a pretty simple, you know, website. They did a good job designing it. I like their website. But here we go. Welcome to Pentoo Linux. Pentoo is a live CD and live USB designed for penetration testing and security assessment. It's based on Gentoo Linux. Pentoo is provided both in 32 and 64-bit installed live CDs. And then there's some more information. They have a Discord. They also have an IRC Telegram group, you know, GitHub, you know, if you want to check it out, where you can report bugs and all that stuff. But it's actively being maintained. They have a cool dev team, you know, that's been developing on this for a while now. And let's go to the About page so I can show you guys the history behind it. But Pentoo is security focused live CD based on Gentoo. It's basically a Gentoo install with a lot of customized tools, customized kernel, and much more. Here is a non-exhaustive list of the features currently included, and I won't go through them all, but it does come with the XFCE desktop environment, you know what I'm saying. And then it says, put simply, Pentoo is Gentoo with the Pentoo overlay, and that's essentially what it is. It says right here that this overlay is available in layman. So all you have to do is run these two commands and that'll get Pentoo installed on top of your Gentoo install. So if you already got Gentoo and you already got a stable system running, you know what I'm saying, where you can install, you know, this Pentoo late overlay on it, then you could try this, you know what I'm saying. But I recommend just stick it to the live ISO, you know, especially if you're just doing some, you know, pen testing, or you want to take it to pen test or something. an organization, and it's really all it is personal preference. Whether you want to use a Gentoo distro, you want to use a Debian based distro, you can even create your own distro with all these tools on it. You know what I'm saying? That's up to you. But that's one of the things about Linux. You have all the options you could think of, you know what I'm saying? Or you can create your own option if it's something not out there specifically for what you need. So that's makes Linux, you know, a whole lot better than any other distro, in my opinion. But right here it says who is behind it. So this breaks down all the different people that's in it. And the developer is Gremlin. The founder and developer is Gremlin. And I believe this guy actually spoke at like one of the DEF CON conferences a couple years back. I remember watching, because what I do is, even though I live in Vegas, I normally don't go to the shows or those conventions. I need to start going or whatever, but I would always watch a lot of the talks, you know, on YouTube, because most of the time they'll put the talks on YouTube. And I think I remember the guy actually talking about he developed this distribution. He was the lead developer, you know, founder, and he did a talk about pen testing. And he created this based on his need. So that's how this came about. But as you can see, he got a whole bunch of, you know, devs, well, 2 or 3 devs along with himself. So, but let's go on and get to the fun part, and that is showing you guys Pentoo. So what I'm gonna do is go over to Proxmox and set up a virtual machine, and I'll go through and show you guys how to install it, you know, on hardware if you want to, you know what I'm saying? And then we can kind of play around with the desktop. I'm not gonna go too deep into the desktop, because if you've seen one security focused, you know, distribution, you kind of seen them all, because they all mimic the same tools. They have the same tools pretty much on all of them. So instead of going through them all or whatever, I say you guys some time and just show you guys how to install it, and then we can look at it, and then I go down and close out the video. But let's go down and hop over there right now so we can get this thing installed. Okay, cool. So the first thing that'll pop up is the options for the live disk of Pentoo as soon as you boot up. And I totally forgot, I need to show you guys something right fast. I need to go back to the website, show you guys how to get the ISO. So all you have to do is go over to downloads, and it kind of breaks down what you need, you know what I'm saying? They basically take you to different releases. They have a beta, a normal release, which I didn't see anything in that folder for the normal release, or I think there's something in the beta, but the daily build is what you want to get, you know what I'm saying? So get the daily build, and then also get the full. So let me show you guys how to download it right fast. So basically just go down to downloads, and all you have to do is click here, download from main site, or if you're in a different, if you want to use a different mirror, then you gotta hop into that one as well, and go over to downloads. And then all you have to do, this brings up the site for the ISOs. And like I said, all you gotta do is go into the daily build. See, I didn't see anything on the release. I think they might have had some under beta. Yeah, there we go. So there is some under beta. But what you want to go to is the daily auto builds. That's the one I go to. As you can see, this was, you know, it's pretty new. And what you want to look for is the full. That'll come with all the tools. The full Horton. So just pick whatever architecture, you know what I'm saying, you want to install it on, and select that one and download the ISO, and you're good to go. Now let's hop back over to the virtual machine so we can get this thing booted up. All right, cool. So the first thing is basically Pentoo Live, or Linux Live. That's the one you want to open up. They got a verify and a no verify. Then they got advanced options. They got the utilities down here, like memory test, hardware detection toolkit, you know, as well as reboot. Like I said, you want to go to that one in order to boot into the operating system. So I'll be back when it actually comes up, because it takes a little while. All right, now one other thing it's gonna bring up is and you don't have to, you can just ignore it. It's gonna go with the defaults, which is English. You can just let it sit and it'll pass that up, but it's gonna take a little while to come up, but I'll be back when it actually comes up. All right, cool. So it booted up, and what it's gonna do is basically just ask you a few things. Right here, it's gonna ask you to change the password. for the live ISO. The login, if you look closely, the login is Pentoo. Okay, so that's what it's going to be for the live ISO, but they want you to set a password for it. So all you gotta do is type in whatever you want. I'm gonna just type in something simple, and you won't see the cursor move. Just be aware of that. It's not gonna show you anything. Now right here it says remember your password. You will need it to log in as user Pentoo. So that's one thing about this distro. It just don't pop right into the live ISO account, you know, like normal distros do, or other distros do. It's gonna ask you for the username and password, and so by you setting it right there, you know, it's gonna allow you to log in. And what you want to do is use X, and what X is basically allows you to run a desktop manager. All you have to do is type Y there for yes. It basically says, would you like to securely store X now? So all we have to do is press yes, Y, and press enter. And then right here, all you have to do is hit any key and it'll start X for you. So let's press enter, and then we'll be up at the desktop environment. So like I said, the username is Pentoo. So all you gotta do is type that in, boom, and type in whatever passwords you or you created for it, and then that'll log into it, and boom, there we go. So we to the desktop. And I know that's a little inconvenience. You would think it would just pop right up into the desktop environment because it's not installed, you know, in any way. That's just the way the ISO is set up. But one thing I wanted to do was kind of fix and like I said, it has XFCE. What I want to do is kind of fix well, it really don't matter if I fix I just don't like how right here above my head, you see how it's cut off. So I always adjust the display setting, and boom, let's go down and fix that. But so this is the desktop environment. You know, like I said, it's XFCE. You can go ahead on and install Pentoo by following or launching the installer by clicking there. You can also start network manager, you know, that way you can connect to the internet. Right now there is no networking. You have to basically connect to the internet by turning on network manager, you know, connected to the internet. So right now it really doesn't have anything on it as far as what you can do outside of the tools that are on here, which is a good thing, you know what I'm saying? Because maybe you want to, you know, set up a Wi-Fi device or a USB Wi-Fi device to this system that can allow you to test out if you can, you know, get into any Wi-Fi networks or something to that effect. But the installer is super simple. You would think it wouldn't be, but it's very simple to install. And I'll just run through it right fast. Right here is just setting the clock, so you can go in here and set the clock. I'm gonna just go down to local time, that's fine. And then we can go through and find our location. So yeah, the only thing is it takes a little time going through here, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. I kind of know what I'm looking for, so boom, we got our time set. Boom, we're gonna roll with that. And then right here is preparing the hard drive. I'm gonna use the guided select my hard drive. It's gonna ask you for the boot partition. You can tell it where to store it. You can change that, modify that if you want to. As you can see, it's a 32 gig hard drive. So boom, it automatically knows how to set it up. So you're good to go. All you have to do is press OK. And then this is gonna basically ask you, are you sure you want to make those changes to the hard drive? Boom. So good to go there. Now we have set up the hard drive. Now you can fine tune the partitions if you want to. You can add, edit, encrypt, preserve existing layout if you want to, but we're gonna finish the partitioning setup. Go down, skip past that. All right, so, and what I'm using is the down and up arrows, and I'm pressing the enter button to select what I want. So all right, so the next thing is copy the distribution. So let's press enter. That'll go down and decompress everything and copy it over to the partitions that we just created. So this may take a little time, and this is essentially the install, because all it's doing is it's basically cloning everything over, and then it'll create a boot partition later on in the process. But I'll skip ahead and I'll be back when this finishes, because it takes some time for this. All right, cool. So basically the install is mostly complete. Now right here It's basically saying that the following unsynced changes to the running live CD have been detected. If you want to sync that, just go down and hit yes. That'll sync that over. This won't take long, but I'll be back when it finishes. All right, now if you see this, don't get worried or whatever. This just syncing the file. So just so you guys know, it kind of goes away from the installer, but it'll come back and you can continue. As you can see what just happened right now. So all right, the next thing we need to do is select our profile. So let's go down and press enter there. It's going to check for the available profiles, and I'm gonna roll with the binary one and just use that as the profile. And now configure the system. So this is a cool way you can set up your text editor, like your default text editor. Nano is the easiest. If you're new to Linux, I recommend you use Nano. It's super simple to use, it's super easy to use. EX is okay, and Vi is okay. Vi is like a scaled down version of Vim, because Vim is like on steroids. At the end of the day, you can do so much with Vim with the key bindings and all that stuff, but just to keep things simple as the default text editor, I would recommend you select Nano. So let's go down and press enter. Now this is going to allow you to configure everything about the system. So like we just did the editor, that was the first step. Now right here is the key map. So, and I'll show you guys what it looks like, but we're not gonna go in and change any of this stuff. But that's the key maps. You got your FS tab. It automatically puts in the drives for us, so we ain't really got to worry about that either. So let's get out of there. You can set your DNS server, your resolvers. You can set your host. You can set your local, locale. That's the generator for you, and then your boot options. Now here's one thing you want to look into as well. If you don't do anything else or configure anything else in those other settings, you definitely want to come in here and activate networking and enable it, basically, so every time your system boots up, networking will be enabled. So right there. And then you can also boot Bluetooth if you want to boot it every single time. And then also currently booting to console. You probably don't want it to boot to console. You probably want it to boot into the desktop environment, which is XFCE. So you need X started. So you can press enter there, and that will boot into X. So as you can see right there, it says currently booting into X. And then all we have to do is hit done there. And like I said, it's a couple other things. So you can set your root password. And what I always do, because I've installed this before, I always do the backwards for the root. So root, I do TOOR, so root backwards as the passwords. And I believe that was the original way they had it in Backtrack. That's where I got that from. So Backtrack from back in the day, I think the default password was TOOR. So all we gotta do is press enter there, set our root password, and then you can create your user account. You can change the name of it. Let's say I want it to be Josh, so boom, I'm gonna change it to Josh, and I'm gonna put in a password for Josh, and then type it in twice, confirm that password, and then down here you can change the host name. And right now it's set to like live ISO or something like that. Let's do Pentoo for the host name. Just press enter, boom, and then all we have to do is go down to done, and this will return you back to the main menu. So, and then the last step is installing the bootloader, and you only have one option, which is grub 2, which is fine. That's what you want. So press enter, select your drive, and basically what it's going to do is select the drive, and then it's going to ask you to do some configuring if you need to for grub, if you need to make changes to it. I'm not going to make changes to it. I'm going to roll with it with the defaults. You can modify that if you want to go in and modify that. And that's one of the benefits of using Gentoo. You have the option, well, anything in Linux, you have the option to go in and modify everything, but they really push that, in Gentoo, changing pretty much everything on the system. It's open 100% to you. It's open on any other distro. This is just the way Gentoo runs, works. But as you can see, grub was successfully installed. So let's go down and press enter. All we have to do is exit the installer, and that's going to drop us back down to the desktop. And all we have to do is reboot from here, and this will boot up our install that we did. Now I'm gonna just shut it down and then I'm gonna start it back up. All right, cool. So as you can see, it'll show this grub menu since we got it installed. So that lets you know that you got it installed on the hardware by showing that grub menu, and it's gonna boot right up and it's gonna pop right up for you to log into the system. So we can log into that Josh account that we created, or you can log into your root account. And as you can see, it kind of kept what we had set on there, which is super dope or whatever. It kept our configurations from when we did the install from the live ISO, which I'm assuming is taken care of when you run that sync, because whatever changes you made during the live ISO, it'll migrate that over to the install. Now as you can see, you got your Pentoo installer still on the desktop. Like I said, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. It's XFCE. I've done a lot of XFCE installs. You can go through and modify this thing, but this is the most important thing right here. This is where you get to all your pen test tools. So you got all your tools that you will see either on Kali or anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? You'll see all these same tools on these cybersecurity pen testing distributions that you find out here. But just show you guys one thing from the install. We have internet, and actually I could have just pinged Google from the terminal, but hey, there we go. So we got internet, networking is working. We don't have to worry about that. So if you follow those steps that I did within the install, then you'll have a working setup of Gentoo or Pentoo, you know what I'm saying, on your system. Now this is an easy way to get Gentoo installed. That's one cool thing about it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about building everything, if you're trying to install Gentoo, especially deep diving through that documentation to figure out everything. This is an easy way to get Gentoo installed, especially if you want these pen test tools or you want some of these tools, and you can take advantage of this distribution, to set up a Gentoo system and play around with some cybersecurity tools or hacking tools. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, go on and leave comments down in the comments below. And also, if you need mentorship on helping you become successful in the information technology field, or you're just trying to get into it, then click on the link that I have on my channel down in the comments below, where you can schedule a mentorship session, which is 100% free, that I provide. Like I've always said, I've been working in the IT field for a number of years. I look at it as a way to give back by offering this mentorship for free. So go on, hit me up, click the link, sign up for the mentorship. I think I've mentored approximately 10 people since I went on and opened it up, and I help people with pushing towards becoming successful in the field, in the IT field. Mostly people that are in college or trying to transition over. That's mainly all the people I've talked to so far. And shout out to all you guys, what I'm saying. Hopefully what I did will help you become successful, and you can always set up another one like I said during the call. But I hope you guys have a wonderful and productive day, and of course, keep it techie.